folks, I'm OfficialJoeyC, and this week on Dissect That Film, me and the crew are gonna review Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, baby. Let's get into it.
Your host, Parker, Dan, and Angela slice and dice their way through the good.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
The bad.
You brought the devil!
There's a devil inside everyone.
And the ugly movies you love.
And you can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it!
Hold your favorite films and franchises tight, because they aren't safe. In fact, it's already too late. It's time to dissect that film.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dissect That Film, a podcast that talks about the good, the bad, and the ugly of cinema. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, are my wonderful co-hosts, Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming.
Hello.
And joining us once again, even though it's not a holiday, we made him our official holiday guy, but it's not for a holiday this time, but he's back. And he's one of our favorite people. We got the OfficialJoeyC back on the show. What's going on, Joey?
Yeah, what's happening? Thanks for having me. Good to be back here on Dissect That Film. Happy to be here. Happy to have you folks. Or you're having me, rather.
Yeah. Yeah. We always love having you on the show, man. It's always a blast. I mean, we've done, what is this? Is this number 4?
I think this is 3.
Is it 3?
Yeah, we did Polar Express, we did Ernest, and this one.
No.
Did we not do one?
Leprechaun 2.
Oh, yeah, Leprechaun 2. I forgot about that one.
So say you can't forget about that one.
How could I forget?
Yeah, I was going to say, you forgot the one episode from this season.
It feels like a lifetime ago. Time is.
Wait, it was Leprechaun 2. Everybody forgot about that movie already.
What the fuck?
Next, we're going to remember next year's because it's Leprechaun 3, baby.
Fuck yeah, baby.
But today is the finale of our Mummy Month. We went through some good and some bad movies this month. We talked about the Brendan Fraser trilogy of The Mummy Returns, and The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. And then last week, we talked about The Mummy 2017 because, you know what? We had to get it out of the way. And to be honest, it was a blast getting to talk about that train wreck of a movie with our good friend, Old Man Brad. Today is our Patreon pick, where each of us picked a movie for our patrons to choose. Dan is yelling on Twitter about things, even though the patrons...
Fuck the Patreon. Fuck them all. I'm just kidding. It's my idea, damn it. I'm just kidding. Well, I appreciate all the patrons and non-patrons, all supporters of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dude, they know I'm fucking around. I'm the guy.
But yeah, we each picked a Mummy movie, and you guys voted on Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. And I'm very excited because this, for one, is now going to be the oldest movie that we have covered on this show by 1 year. Our oldest before this was Rodan from 1956. This came out in 1955.
Yeah.
Joey, since you are our guest, what is your history with what's your history with Abbott and Costello kind of as a whole before we even get into the movie?
Long history. My dad introduced me to all the comedy greats when I was a kid. Jackie Gleason, Abbott and Costello, the Three Stooges. And the going story is, so to make a long story short, when my family came over from Italy, they changed my last name from Crisatello to Costello. So there's always like a family, like, not rumor, but like, oh yeah, we're related to Lou Costello. And come to find out, Lou Costello's real last name is like Cristello or something like that. Cristatello or something. My last name is Crisatello. So it was like we had to watch everything Abbott and Costello. And my dad used to always tape Abbott and Costello. And so I'd get home from school like every week and always have a new tape of Abbott and Costello. And I watched it constantly. And this movie I watched probably the most. I fucking love Abbott and Costello, man. Classic comedy.
All right. Yeah. So his real name was Louis Francis Costello. Costello. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Cristillo. Dan, Angela, do you guys have a history with Abbott Costello?
Do you? I'm asking real questions. Now mine's very limited, but it starts a long time ago. What the fuck channel was that? Channel 10 in the morning when I was really little. It was Fox. We had a local Omaha network. Actually, this is the Omaha network. The meme of the man all in the black suit with the pumpkin head dancing around doing that really crappy, goofy dance. That's from my local station.
No shit.
That's from my fucking local station. Yes, I 100%.
Because he's from Omaha.
It was out of Omaha, which is I'm from. Yes, Omaha, Nebraska, from a town about 80, 90 miles away. Beatrice is where I was born and raised. And so we had that same network. Every once in a while would do the Who's on First bit.
Oh, yeah.
Which that was my introduction to Abbott and Costello, which I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, get back to the cartoons. I miss a Godzilla 1998. Whatever, And then when I was older, I'd go hang out at grandma's, and a common reoccurring Abbott and Costello, which there were other ones, but the one we watched the most wasn't this one. It was Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Classic.
Which is a fucking classic and a half.
So
I love that movie. But I have none whatsoever for this movie. That's literally my history with these guys. I just known about them. I think they're funny, and it's relevant to the month we're covering. So, and it's an out there pick. Nobody else was going to pick this.
No,
nobody, except for Joey.
I mean, my pick was older than this one. Mine was the original.
Yeah.
Way to point out that mine was sucky.
No, I wanted to see yours.
We can still watch it.
We found out that your pick was directed by Damien Leone, who directed the Terrifier movies.
Yeah.
Art's just in the background. So I know he's not. I'm just saying.
Like Dan, my first introduction to Abbott and Costello was Who's on First. I heard that I don't know how many times as a kid. I remember the first time it was in grade school, and I was like, what the hell is this?
These old ass fucking dudes. Where's the color?
But it wasn't. I watched them perform it, and I was like, huh? And I said that to Victor. I was like, who's on first? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like,
the generation's doomed.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is we get that same, like, it's funny because they kind of take that skit and they reuse it for like everything they do. Because we get that sort of situation in this movie that we'll talk about when we get to it. But yeah, keep going, Angela. Sorry.
But we also had a group that came in and performed it at our grade school. And I thought it was the coolest thing because I'm like, I get it now. So, but I remember watching Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein with him at his granny's house. Like, that was my first time watching one of their movies. And I was like, I love them. They're just like, they're that type of funny that hits my little heart.
It's wholesome.
It's little.
Humor. It's great.
My heart is little. Huh. I am the Grinch.
That isn't relying on like just petty fart jokes and stuff. Not that I don't like them, just saying.
Yeah. I still like that wholesome, funny moments.
I have the same kind of history. My mom was obsessed with like TV Land when I was growing up, and back when I was a kid, TV Land had actual classic shows. So like I Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched and all those shows.
Grew up watching those.
But at a certain time of the day, they would show the real classics, like the ones from the 30s and 40s, which, there was a lot of Three Stooges. I think there was a channel that just played Three Stooges for like the first 4 hours of the morning. It would start at like 4 a.m. I'd wake up for school and I'd watch Three Stooges while I was getting ready.
I think it was Spike TV.
Was it Spike? Okay.
Yeah, because I did the same thing. It started at like 4 a.m. and it would end at like 9 a.m. or something like that.
And I just fell in love with the Three Stooges, and then I found out about Abbott Costello pretty much from the Who's on First bit. And I remember don't know if it was TCM used to play these movies during like Halloween, like during the month of October. And so I remember watching this. I remember watching the Frankenstein one, pretty much all the Universal Monster movies that they did the collab with. And yeah, it's just Abbott and Costello was just more of the Three Stooges. They just had this, they played off each other so well because you had like the straight smart one, and then you had the dim-witted idiot, and so they played so well off each other where I think comedies nowadays are trying to bring that back and it just doesn't work anymore because of the times. But man, nothing can hold a candle to what Abbott and Costello did back in the day. Now, a little bit of history about Abbott and Costello before we get into, there's not a lot of behind the scenes stuff with this movie. I'll kind of throw some into the plot when we get to it. But they started working together in 1935. Didn't start doing movies, I believe, until like the 40s. And this was the final film that they did with Universal Studios. There was one other movie that was distributed by Universal, which was kind of a like compilation project. Unfortunately, Costello passed away in 1959, so only three or four short years after this movie had come out. And so that kind of ended everything there. But the reasoning for these movies being what they are is because Universal wanted to take two hot properties and just smash them together. The Universal Monsters were doing gangbusters, throughout the 30s and 40s, and Abbott and Costello were doing their thing. And they're like, what if we kind of put these two things together? And I know that Frankenstein is the one that kind of like blew up. That was the one that really put them on the map. It was like, I think when people think of the original Frankenstein, but it was like, hey, there's a lot of people would be like, what's your favorite Frankenstein movie? And people will point Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein because it's just so good. Didn't that one have Boris Karloff playing Frankenstein?
Yep. And Lon Chaney Jr. was in it.
Yep. So I think, getting the original Frankenstein in there and having these two, I think it was comedy gold. I think they tried to do something similar with this one, but unfortunately it was a little bit different. And we'll get to our final thoughts on the movie when we get to the end, but I didn't see it playing. It didn't play out the same as Frankenstein. But it still has its funny moments, and it's still a fun watch. It's a movie you can throw on with little kids around, and even if there's some pretty dark things that happen in this movie. But a little of the people behind who worked on the movie, we have Charles Lamont, who was the director. He directed a lot of the Abbott and Costello movies, and he did a lot of the Ma Pa Kettle movies. Do you remember what those were?
Nope,
never even heard of them. Yeah,
it was a comedy show back in kind of the same time. So this stars Bud Abbott, Lou Costello, Marie Windsor, Michael Ansari, Peggy Smith. I love that she's credited in this movie just for singing a song.
Yeah. Yep.
Richard Deacon and Mel Wells. It was released June 23rd, 1955, ran at a beautiful hour and 19 minutes, and had a budget of $726,000. But I don't know what it made, because I don't know if this went to theaters or if this was just a straight to TV thing. I mean, it was 1955, so
I think it would have been in theaters.
Probably,
I don't think it was straight to TV. TV wasn't really widespread in the American home until the mid to late 50s. So this would have been super early for that.
Yeah. So I had nothing for the box office. So
that still sounds like a shit ton of money though back then.
For 1955?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's almost $1 million. That's crazy. That does seem like a really large budget.
Yeah. The one fun fact about this was that the day after the filming was completed, Abbott and Costello arrived in New York City to ride on the very first float of the first Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
All right. Well, that's about it for behind the scenes. There's really not a whole lot. There's a couple that I'll mention as we get through it. So let's get into the plot of Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. So, are you guys ready?
Oh, yeah, baby.
All right, here we go. It is time to
Dissect
that.
Boom!
So the movie opens with just kind of a drawing of this is when Photoshop was like first the thing, right? Because it's literally a drawing of two guys in a sarcophagus and it's just their heads on each one as it plays the Snake Charmer song, which is all I know the song as.
Yeah.
And I love the narrator. I'm like, does every movie that has a mummy in it have a narrator? I swear to God, every movie we've covered this month has had a narrator, even the stupid one from last week.
It's a rite of passage for mummy movies.
Right. I love, though, the line where the guy's just like, a man's best friend is his mummy. And I went, good one, man. Oh, my God. So we then are in like a restaurant. There's a performance going on. And I went, what the hell is happening right now? It's just these women getting thrown around the room.
Dude,
crazy
it's
flips.
wild.
Isn't it?
This?
And then like the guy smashes through the barrel and the beer, the soda just goes everywhere, whatever the fuck it is. It's wild.
This is good.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was like, this is the most artistic depiction of a domestic dispute I've ever seen in my entire life.
So my
God. It was well choreographed though.
Right? There was one moment where she one of them wraps her legs around the dude's neck and he's not even holding her and he's just spinning around. I was like, oh my God, the dude's got a neck of steel.
If there's one thing you could say about this movie is that the choreography in this movie is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they have a lot of them in the movie. Like,
I mean, that's what was so great about like the Three Stooges and Abbott and Costello is they were so good at physical comedy. They're like getting thrown around and just like, Costello was a bigger dude. He wasn't, he was short and he was stout and he would roll around like a ball. He would get thrown. He would he would hit the ground and he would fling right back up. And it's like, I can't even do that. I'm falling down. I'm like, oh God. All right. But yeah, this show is absolutely insane. And I love the whole thing where the waiter comes in with the meat that's on fire and Lou keeps throwing the liquor. It's like, your meat's on fire. And he comes back, your meat's on fire. He's like, I love how it plays though later on in the movie because they go back to that restaurant and the waiter walks by with the meat on fire and he just looks at him. He's like, don't even think about it.
That's called payoff, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, so this is when we get our exposition dump between we have Dr. Zoomer and his group, and then there's a group that's like outside and they're talking about Clarice the Mummy, which is a play.
There's three groups technically.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you don't see the third group until later, right?
Yeah.
So you have
I believe so.
But who's the woman? What was her name?
I have no idea what her name was.
Madame Ronchu or Ronchu.
That doesn't even sound familiar, so I have no idea.
She said her name a couple times. It's in the notes, but it's later on. But she has her group outside. They're talking, and then Dr. Zoomer is talking inside. Dr. Zoomer doesn't even sound real.
It doesn't.
Whatever, Zoomer.
Yeah.
But they're talking about Clarice, the mummy that they found, and they're each kind of have different motivations on what they're going to do with it. It's a play. So Clarice is a play on Charis, which was the mummy from the Universal monster movies.
Yep.
Except for, of course, the original, which was Imhotep. So everybody's fighting over the mummy. They talk about the curse. I was like, well, of course, there's a mummy. There's got to be a curse involved because it's like always a staple. Like going forward, mummies equal cursed.
Yep.
Okay. Let's keep messing with them. Okay, guys. Then we go to Dr. Zoomer's office and he's recording himself on the biggest fucking recorder ever, man. This thing is like this tall. But the only device that it needs is what's on the top.
Yeah.
It's like
powered by some small nuclear reactor, which was the style at the time.
So yeah, he's recording some stuff, and Just reminds me of like Ace Ventura, where the two dudes walk in, he's got his blow dart.
That's exactly it.
The funniest thing is when he gets, you guys are gonna have to, maybe you guys remember what happens, but when he gets blow darted, does he actually scream? Because later on, when you listen back on the recording, he's like screaming for his life. But I don't remember him screaming like that when he gets blow darted.
I don't remember that either. It's like a silent like, jerk.
Yeah. Oh,
I feel like this is embellished.
We're gonna have to rewatch that.
Oh man! And then we get an argument between so I'm gonna call Costello Lou because that is how he's preferred to it throughout the movie, and then Abbott is how the other one is preferred. Even though in the credits they are credited as two completely different people. They have names, but yet the entire movie they're just being referred to as Lou, Costello, or Abbott.
Yep.
And I'm like, did they just forget that they had names, or did they just go, yeah, we're not doing that.
No,
we're not doing that.
They don't call each other by their name.
It's so
they call each other by their actual names.
By their actual names, yes.
Yes.
I feel like it's because that's what they were used to doing. They were used to they were Abbott and Costello. They weren't anyone else. But
I didn't even know Lou Costello's name in the movie because Abbott keeps calling him Lou.
Yeah.
And Lou keeps saying, "Hey, Abbott." I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what you're supposed to be saying.
So I actually do have a little bit more to this, and I just hit me. It reminded me when we were watching the movie because I was trying to remember because sometimes I don't always remember because it's been a long time since I've watched these Who's Who, and I was like, oh no, it's Abbott's the tall guy because I always think of the Looney Tunes that they were on.
Yeah,
they were an old. It was
it
was because the tall one was Babbitt. And then the other one was Costello.
Yep.
I always got confused on who was the idiot and who was the straight one. Yeah.
They switch sometimes, so
yeah, but it's usually Lou.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's so lovable.
Abbott looks kind of like Vincent Price in this movie with that pencil mustache.
A little bit.
Like he could look like he could be related to him. Yeah.
This was the last movie that he had that mustache in.
Yeah.
After he got rid of it.
Yeah.
Fuck that mustache.
He pulled it. I thought he pulled it off.
Yeah, he did.
No, I think it's fine. I'm just assuming that was his thought.
So then we get an argument between the two guys about mummies because Lou thinks that he's saying mommies, but Abbott's saying mummies. So he's saying mummies can be men or women. And Lou's like,
what the fuck?
What was your mother? And he's like, what? It was a back and forth, and I'm like, it's one of those things where you watch it in 2024, and you're like, boy, that's a joke that definitely couldn't be played today.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a couple things said that couldn't be said today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's probably a bunch of whitewashing in this movie too, but it's black and white, so it's hard to tell.
Of it. Yeah. Every single scene has it. It's like bad.
Yeah, they're like, it's black and white. They can't tell. Even though you look at like the actors' names and you're like, yeah, I don't think so, guys.
Yeah.
That tan is painted the fuck on.
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh man. So is this where Steven Spielberg got the idea for Temple of Doom and then for the guy from The Lost World?
It has to. It has to be.
He's like, Steven, we're in color now. They can tell.
Shit. This scene always cracks me up though because to this, you know how like Lou and Abbott both when they go into the room they'll say like Dr. Zoomer. To this day, anytime I'm looking for somebody in a room, I will say Dr. Zoomer, and nobody fucking knows what I'm talking about. I've been doing it for years. I can't get it out of my head. It's burned into my fucking head.
Bunch of tactless savages.
Yeah. Dr. Zuma.
Oh my god. I love though when they find Clarice and they open up the cap and he's just like, I just love he's just like super dry and he just looks like he's licking his lips like
that's water. That's exactly what he's doing. It's so weird.
This is the first movie of our Mummy Month where the mummy is a mummy throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
This is also the first Universal Mummy movie that they didn't individually wrap the actor.
Yep.
It was like a latex suit or something.
This looks
or like
the
a rubber
suit.
suit.
Have you ever seen Swamp Thing from 1982?
Yep.
Like the first ever Swamp Thing movie. I swear to God, they just took the suits from this movie and were like, we're just going to paint it green.
Yeah, paint it green,
they're
exactly.
Swamp Thing now. Yeah.
Airbrush.
So Lou discovers Clarice, and it's, of course, Lou discovers a bunch of things throughout this entire scene, and every time he goes to Abbott to then go back to see what he found, it's gone. So he finds Clarice. Clarice is alive, and then when they go back, he's just gone. They then there's like one group goes and they take the sarcophagus back, and then they open it up and they're like, "Oh, the medallion's gone." And I went, "Well, where was it?" Because I don't remember seeing anyone take it earlier. It's just gone. All right. And I just love when there's like Clarice needs his sustenance. Ew.
So gross.
It's like it's 1955. They don't have the effects they had in the Mummy movies that we covered already, so they can't have that effect. So it's like, what do they do? It's nasty.
Here, drink some Tang.
Just have him lick his lips a lot. It's so gross.
Then we get a whole scenario where Lou finds the doctor. He's dead. He listens to the recording, and he thinks that the recording is actually the doctor's voice speaking to him. And then he goes to find Abbott. They go back. The doctor's gone. And then it's a whole hijinks where like he keeps finding him in different parts of the museum or wherever they're at. He's like in the closet. He's like on the back of the bathroom door. And he's like slowly losing clothes every time they see him. And then they find him back in the chair again. And he's like down his like, what are they called?
Suspenders?
No, what is like the shit you would wear when it's cold?
Long johns.
Long johns. Yeah. Golly. And that's when Lou fucks with Abbott because Abbott says like he's not afraid of anything, and then he records the whole thing. He was like, "This is a gun.
I'll fill you full of lead."
Yeah. Like, back up. Tell me what you want to do now. Keep rolling.
Yeah, the jet. Sorry. Never thought we'd get that today.
Oh my God. So, dude, listen, there's this moments like physical comedy is just so good, but there are moments where you feel the pain of some of these situations. Like literally, so Lou has this. Technically, I think it's like the first ever single shot camera, like the instant camera.
Yeah.
And he fucking smokes Abbott in the shower with it.
Yeah.
And I went, oh my God. I felt that.
Yep.
So there's a whole thing about Clarice and the curse that's involved around him. He's like the protector of Princess Aura's treasure. But that's all you kind of get of Princess Aura. She has no involvement in this. Like I figured it was a Mummy movie. There was going to be some love story between Clarice and Aura, and he was going to try to like wake her up again. Because that's just, I feel like how all Mummy movies are. But it didn't play into that.
Wake up.
But he hears the screams come from the recording, which we didn't hear before when he got blow darted. So it was kind of crazy because he literally screams. And I love when Abbott runs back and he's like, "What was that?" And Lou goes, "Ah!" And he does a scream.
Like, right in his fucking ear.
Yes. I didn't need that. So then they have to set up some pictures as proof to the police that he's dead.
Because they don't want to get involved. They're like, we don't want nothing to do with this.
Yeah, so like, so we're going to take some pictures of the dead body, and we're going to send them to the police, and then, we'll be in the clear. These two other guys just come in, and they take the sarcophagus like it was made out of paper. They just pick this thing, like, these things are...
one-handed, like...
Yeah. These things are a ton. So, yeah, whatever. We'll go with it. Two other guys over here, Abbott and Costello, mentioning shooting the doctor because they shot pictures of him, but they're outside talking about, oh yeah, we got 3 in the body, 2 in the head. The guys just come out of the bushes like, what the fuck?
I'm pretty sure these two are from our third party.
Yeah, from the cult that we're going to see later.
Yep.
No, hold on. The guys that took the sarcophagus were the cult. These two dudes are the guys that are just wanting the jewels. They just want to get the treasure.
Oh no, that's right.
Yeah. This is the one. These are the guys that work with
the lady,
Ron True there.
Yeah,
or the lady, or the
cream for that name, dude. Holy fuck,
the hot lady.
Yeah, the bad bitch. Yeah,
the bad. He's a bad. No, stop it.
She's the lady of the night.
I love though. They give the kid the pictures. They're like, go to the police, kid. I'm like, why are we just trusting just random children on the street to go deliver these important pictures to the police? It doesn't seem like a plan that's going to work out well. So we then see a ceremony taking place, and you're like, is this like a flashback? No, this is taking place right now. Yep. And you got some crazy dancers going on, and we get this for a good like minute and a half of just dancing. And I'm like, all right, I mean, it's good. I'm not going to complain.
People fucking like going like this and shit like that.
The whole thing with the like 6 arms or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's
doing
sick.
That thing. Mm-hmm. I just love and then you got Simu back there. He's just looking, just chilling in that chair.
Just bobbing his head. Oh, wait, no.
And listen, there was some flat performances in this movie. The dude who plays Simu literally acted like he was reading off a cue card. Every scene, because he was literally like, "You guys need to find the medallion. If you don't, I will kill you." I was like, "You at least give some emotion to that line, sir."
It's so flat. It's
holy
insane.
Shit. So I guess Richard Deacon, who plays Simu, from what I read, was that he, because of course this was in the 50s during McCarthyism, the whole communism scaring and all that stuff. I guess
that shit ain't over, bro. Just like
no, but it was during that period of time.
Yeah.
But Holly was very much affected by it, and I guess Richard Deacon was pretty much threatened by Costello's agent about doing like certain things on movie. I don't think it had anything to do with this movie. And pretty much like threatened him if he didn't like sign a certain paper that had to do with it, that he would never work in Hollywood again and stuff like that. And I guess it went nowhere. Like he was still able to work until he ended up retiring. And I guess from what I read is like Costello had nothing to do with it. It was like his agent was the one like orchestrating the whole thing. I'm like,
that's wild.
Wow.
That's fucking crazy.
The ceremony's done. They got to go find the medallion. And then we see Clarice getting a boiling drink, man. Do you see that shit? Like it looked like they scooped like lava in a cup, and it was like, here, drink up, little man. Gotta get you backing up again.
It's liquefied souls. That's how they keep them alive.
That's right.
There you go.
That's how they saved money on special effects.
Fuck yeah.
So Abbott Costello they're sitting at a table. They're talking over the whole situation about how they're going to sell this medallion. They're going to make a lot of money. And we get just a quick thing. We get a woman who's selling flowers. And she's like, how much? $1. I don't have money. Oh, well, they're kind of wilting, so you can have them for free. And he throws them on there. I guess that's Costello's daughter, Carol Costello.
Oh,
that's cool.
no
I love
shit.
That.
Yeah.
That exchange is
that's
good.
Cool.
Just trying to get rid of the metal. I fucking love that.
Oh, yeah, because they talk about the whole thing of, it's pretty much like whoever holds this medallion is cursed.
Oh, is that the hamburger scene?
It's a curse. No, that's before the hamburger scene. They're not at the restaurant yet. They're outside because that's when the cops show up because they're wanted for murder because the kid's like, it was them. And so they have to go in and they get like the hooded outfit.
Yep.
And they become snake charmers. And this will get the whole gag with Costello playing the flute, which he plays so well, even though you can clearly tell he's not playing it at all.
Yeah.
And the awesome snake on a wire just floating around. I just love it. It's like, all right, you sit over here. We're going to do this. And then it just follows him. Also, my favorite thing, though, is when they go around the corner, they're running away. And then they sit down and they do it again, but with a rope. And then he plays the flute and the rope just shoots up into the air.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
Yep.
Okay.
That was supposed to be I thought that was supposed to be a very long snake. I'm an idiot.
Right? I thought that was like their escape plan. They were just going to like shoot up there into something and then the cops were just going to be like, look.
Is that like a callback to when they did like Jack and the Beanstalk movie? Because I think
it could have been.
I think they both did Jack and the Beanstalk. And I was like, all right, what's going on here?
Yeah, it was like
Your level of believability is going out the door fast here.
I mean, there's a lot of things in this movie you're like, yeah, this
Looney Tunes caliber bullshit.
I mean, that's pretty much what these shows and movies were. They were live action versions of Looney Tunes. It's like slapstick comedy, physical comedy that was just so like dudes getting smoked in the head with like boulders, and they're just like, and then they get back up 5 seconds later, and they're fine. Yeah, somebody in real life has that happen. They're fucking dead. Blood. I want somebody to do an edit where it's like Abbott and Costello realism. It's just like they're doing their crazy stunts, and it's just like they just die. They're just dying everywhere. And it's just and then at the end of the short, it's just like Hollywood has like a cloning device. They just keep cloning Abbott and Costello, and they just have a room full of dead bodies.
Yeah.
That's a science fiction movie right there. That's a good idea.
That's just Rick and Morty, dude. That's all that shit is.
Oh my God. So they don't even have the medallion at this point, because this is when Lou does the recording of himself being tough. But this is when he walks into the room, and the bad bitch and her goons are there, and they're hiding, and she's like on the table, because before Costello goes into the room, and there's like a mannequin of a woman on a table. Well, she like takes the place, and dude, I swear to God, I thought he was gonna
clap them cheeks,
ass, dude.
Oh, yeah, dude,
he stops himself, and then he just takes his hat and he like hits her, and then she kicks him into a vase, and then he finds the medallion in there. And then comedy hijinks ensues. You get like the Scooby-Doo moments where like they're running into doors and coming out of doors and shutting doors, and things are happening. Lou almost gets caught, and then he's able to escape because he uses his recording to fool the cops. And I'm like, these cops are dumb.
Yep.
And he just dives. He dives out this window, just swan diving out of there, man. You just imagine the next scene, him just picking glass out of his face.
Ew.
Nah, he's fine, guys. Yeah, right.
He's Lou Costello. He can't get hurt.
Yeah.
No. And you find out that Madame Ranchu, she is a scary, scary bitch.
Yep.
She's like, I don't give a fuck about anybody. I want that treasure. I will kill people for it. It's like,
that makes it hotter.
Yeah. Goddamn. Yeah. Yeah, sure does.
It sure does.
So Abbott and Costello go to a pawn shop or a similar type of shop to try to sell the medallion. And of course, they show the medallion, and the guy's like, "It's guys, get it out of here!" And he like runs away,
freaks out.
Yeah, and then a bad bitch, she comes in. She's like, "I'll buy that off you for like $100." And they're like, $100? And he's like, pfft. Abbott's like, nah, $5,000,
5,000.
She's like, what do you think I am? Do you think I carry that shit around with me? And he's like, well, then we're gonna meet somewhere. And of course, because he's the one being smart about this whole situation, she doesn't like him. But she starts, flirting with Costello there, and he's like, "You're pretty."
Dude, Lou gets all the cheeks, bro. Like in all these fucking movies, I swear.
Because he's the dim-witted one, so like he's he's easiest to persuade or manipulate. Where Abbott's a little bit, he's got some smarts up there. So she's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna meet at this Cafe Baghdad. I'll bring your $5,000." And then right as she leaves, Simu's guys come in, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna buy that medallion off you." And they're like, "No, we already got a buyer." And then they're like, "Well, how about these knives?" Whoosh, and like throw them at the door.
Classic.
Like, yeah.
It's violent shit, man.
Yep.
It's so good though. And then we get a wonderful song by Peggy King.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Who I thought
from St. Louis.
I was like,
great song.
Aren't we in Egypt right now?
Yeah.
Like, why is this being the song that we're getting?
Well, it's a long way from St. Louis, is I think the point of the song.
Oh,
and
wrong.
I don't know if you knew this, but Egypt is a distance away from St. Louis. So I figured that was the point.
I knew
just a few miles.
I knew I should have paid attention in Geography.
In
class.
geography.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Damn it.
Damn
it.
Has anybody else heard this song before this movie?
Nope.
I only know it because of this movie, and it's fantastic.
I'm the only one. I've heard this before this fucking movie.
Really?
Yes. It's wild. I don't know where, but
I
guess I could have been.
I had to look this up because I didn't know who this was. I thought she looks like Judy Garland.
Yes, she
And
does.
so I was like, "Is this Judy Garland?" And it wasn't. But it was a great song. Great song. She's got a good voice, and she was attractive too. So
yep. She was very hot.
It's like a trilogy of greatness, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so we move on. So we're in Egypt, and just blatantly, you can order hamburgers and coffee.
Yeah, apparently,
like it's like no big deal. Like hamburgers, yeah, that's a normal thing people order in Egypt. Sure.
Yeah,
gotcha. I'm gonna come. And hamburgers, bro. Come on, can we stop with this shit? Slap some fucking cheese on there, dude.
Yeah, it's just a fucking plain hamburger, no lettuce, no tomato, no sauce, nothing. It's fucking silly. And the bread looks fucking disgusting, but that's a story for another day. I'm a food connoisseur, so this is what I paid attention to.
Oh man, yeah,
food.
So this is when they find out the whole like death comes to those who holds the medallion, and so we get this whole comedy hijinks where they're trying to get rid of the medallion. They're doing the whole. To be honest, this was the one bit that went on way too long, where they're flip flopping the burgers. I was like, okay, we can move on now.
That's funny that you say that because I fucking enjoy it every time. I don't think it goes on long at all.
I love it too. I love it too.
The only beef I have with it is that
it's hamburgers.
That bit is the bit of eating something that you're not supposed to. They do that in the Three Stooges with Curly every fucking episode. So that bit is just so played out, but it's still Abbott and Costello do such a good job at it. I don't know. I fucking love this scene.
The sound design is fantastic.
Oh my God.
Medallion.
It should be studied.
And then he swallows it and it's just somebody just sat there in an empty room and just dropped a bunch of screws and shit onto a floor. And just amplified everything. It was nuts. I love the one where he throws a medallion on the little tray that the waiter's walking by on, and the guy's like, "Oh, sorry, sir, but he seemed to have thrown this medallion there with it." He's like, "Son of a bitch."
You tell me the pawn shop owner knew what the medallion is, but the waiter working within all these people doesn't fucking know that? That's silly. Absolutely silly.
It's not from there.
He might not be.
So bad bitch, she shows back up and she's like, "Hey, big guy, you want to come back with me?" And he's like, "You're pretty.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And she's like, "But not you, because you make sense. Stay there."
And he just agrees.
Yeah, he's just like, "All right, sure," because he doesn't care anymore because he doesn't want the medallion. So.
Yeah,
no,
he's just like, "All right, whatever." But then we get this whole thing where they go into a room and they're trying to get the medallion back. And we just get the whole gag where the arm comes out of the wall, and then my favorite is the arm coming out of the lion's mouth.
Oh yeah,
that was my favorite one. I just love though he notices every time the arm comes out. It's not even that he just can't convince her that this is happening. I mean, she knows it's happening, but it's so funny. And then you got the one through the floor. I'm like, what is this setup, dude?
One.
This whole scene's probably my favorite scene.
Yeah, it's so good.
I just want to know the planning behind this room, Did they just hey, we're going to be bringing them to this room, so we're just going to drill a shit ton of holes around this place so we can easily just stick our arms through it. The last one is the guy who's pretending to be the mannequin.
Yeah.
And then it turns into the actual statue because the wall spins. Yeah.
I like the dude on the floor because he grabs all of his money, but one bill, and he knocks on the table again and hands him the last bill.
Oh yeah. I was thinking about that. That had to have been a mistake. That had maybe it wasn't. I don't know, but it looked like he didn't grab it all on accident. That was just if they improvised that was fucking perfect.
Oh man, it made it so much. It made it so much more funny.
Yeah,
by him just handing that final bill to him.
When the lion's eyes go cross-eyed after Costello hits it,
punches it. But yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I ate the medallion," and they're like, "Well, this is an inconvenience." So we got to bring him to somebody to get. He's got to get fluoroscoped, which is an X-ray device that just slides over an area and just takes pictures. And you get this whole gag where they can't see it, but they're like, shake him up a little bit. I'm like, that's just a common thing to tell somebody. Like, we can't see the medallion inside him, so shake him up. So
and I love the sound effect they use when they shake them.
It's so just a jar of coins.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
The whole sound while he's eating it. I'm like,
oh my God. I also love like how he ate it, but when they X-ray him, it's full. It's like the complete thing.
Like he takes 2 bites out of it and it goes down, but then they take the X-ray and it's like, oh, it's, you know,
it's whole again. Come on.
My favorite is like they keep saying, oh, we got to cut it out of him. And he's like, oh, just shake me up again.
Yeah.
But then when they
go ahead.
Oh no, it's just the fact that when they actually get the picture, as Joey was saying, it's like it's fully intact, but also it's clear as day. It's like somebody just laid a picture down, slapped the medallion, took a picture, and was just slid it in place.
Yep.
I like the second one after they shake him up the first time, and they check him again. The words there spell help.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. So, oh my God, they Abbott and the one of the goons grabs him and they swing him around, swinging a dummy around. Dude.
Yeah.
And they just throw him up, and he gets stuck up in the ceiling. And then you get the whole gag where he falls and Abbott gets flung up into the ceiling.
Yep.
Oh,
classic.
Man. So the medallion's inside of him, clear as day. So they're pretty much going to use the X-ray and just read the hieroglyphics off of the medallion from the picture. And that's when Simu shows up, and he's like, I can read that, so why don't we team up? We'll both go after the treasure, and, you know, everything will work out. And I like, though, how she's not dumb. She kind of knows that, like, he's not maybe the person she thinks that he's trying to persuade her he is. So she's like, they're like, oh, what if he's leading us to a trap? He's like, I'm hoping he does, because I'll know. All right. That's why you bad bitch.
Yep, that's right.
So they get to the tomb, and they each plan on what they're going to do. So you got like Simu over with his group planning their thing. They have the other group planning their thing, and then you just have Abbott and Costello just unloading a camel.
Classic. That's what I would be doing in that situation.
So we then get the gag where they got to set up a tent. Costello gets knocked into the tomb.
Pitch a tent.
Just like
throws it at.
Oh my God. This is probably my favorite part of where he is in this tube and he is running around and just keeps running into scary things.
It's
so we get the bat, the rotoscoped bat that he is able to, like, the fact that he has to pretend like he sees this bat is great, because there's a moment where that bat shows back up and he ducks perfectly as the
perfectly for it. Yeah,
I was like,
it's not on a wire.
I wish it was on a string, dude.
It's not Day of the Dead bat.
Damn it.
But we get that. We get the lizard, the fucking giant lizard. That's just
Oh my God, that special effect is wild.
Dude, listen, I have to talk about this because this is relevant. We have not had this on the show yet, and we need to talk. So, the giant, it was a fad in the 50s. It's a terrible fad, but there was a fad in the 50s where people are like, hey, let's make a dinosaur movie, but instead of dinosaurs, let's just use giant lizards, like actual lizards, but make them giant and sometimes glue appliances to them and try to pass them off as dinosaurs. Really big thing. They ran it in a movie called King Dinosaur from the 50s, the 1950s Lost World, a movie I had to tell her about she thought I made up called Untamed Women. 100% a real movie.
Stupid
anyway,
title.
And that's actually the giant iguana most notably used in, was it 10 million years BC? The original one.
Don't look at me. I don't
know.
Yeah,
anyway. Hold on. I know this reference. Shawshank Redemption. His poster on the wall was Raquel Welch.
Oh, okay.
That's what movie she's from. Though she's most notable from that I can remember. Anyway, so I had to talk about making giant lizards. It's an iguana.
Speaking of this movie showing up in another movie, this was one of the movies shown at the drive-in during Back to the Future Part 3.
Yep.
Hey!
That's right.
I'll take it.
So as we continue with all the scary things, there's another mummy that he runs into. This one is clearly not awake. And then we have a skeleton that is hanging from nothing. There's nothing. It's just floating in the air. Yeah. And then they have to show him like on his shoulders, and he's just like, oh. But then he meets the mummy again. And I really just wanted him to whip out like a canteen and something and be like, bro, you look thirsty.
Yeah, literally.
Here, bud.
Motherfucker is dried out, bro.
But he's able to get out of the tomb. He tells Abbott about it, and then they're able to like get back in through the same opening.
By repeating what happened the first time. Yep. Here, hit me again into the wall.
It works out perfectly again.
Yeah.
But they get into the tomb. They go to Clarice's sarcophagus, and they had this whole plan where one of them is going to be bait, and the other one is going to whistle to alert the other one. And I love that Abbott can't whistle, but Costello can, and so they switch spots. But the mummy comes from behind Costello, and and of course Abbott can't whistle, so he can't alert him, and he just runs away. He just is like, "Fuck you, buddy, bye."
Because he's like, I'm the one that's supposed to whistle.
And I love how Costello can't whistle now because he's so scared, because he does the whole thing where he like sees him between his legs. It's great. And this is when he like grabs on and like gives him a nice hug. And then the medallion just pops out of him.
Yep. Heimlich.
Yep. So Ranchu, or evil bitch, or bad bitch, she finds out who Simu really is. He is the leader of the followers of Clarice. Clarice is like, to me, Clarice is a terrible name, by the way.
I agree.
Every time I
close to clitoris. You there too?
Oh,
that's his name. The clan's the Clintonites. All worship clitoris.
Oh no!
Oh shit! God. Listen, I am the Clint commander. James Silent Bob Strike Back, Clint, the coalition for liberation by tree dwellers. Fucking love that.
Wow,
it's so great. God, I can't believe I got to reference that in this movie.
Wow, is it sad that Jay and Silent Bob are going to be at FanFest?
Okay, hold on. I gotta talk about that. We missed it. I was going to get an autograph because we have a convention here, and Jason Mewes and the whole Clerks, Kevin Smith, a bunch of people were going to fucking be there. And I was really tempted to have my friend, because he's going to be there, get an autograph for it. But I'd only get an autograph of Jason Mewes if he would sign it. Hey, baby, have you ever had your asshole licked by a fat man in an overcoat? Like, I want that, like, autograph. But I'm a simpleton. So.
We could have gone.
Just you asking him that question. I just need that recorded.
Yeah,
I want to see you asking that question.
Being Jason Mewes, he seems like the kind of guy to be like, all right, just because of how he is, like this stuff I've heard about him.
Like, you said it in the movie, man. I'm a fan. Okay,
I think it's funny.
I just need you to repeat it.
Oh man. So this is when we get the who's on first bit of this movie, which is the I picked a shovel.
Yes.
So but you picked a pick? Or
you picked a pick and it picked a shovel? Or you shovel? No, the shovel's my pick.
What is your pick? I picked the shovel. No, you can't have the pick and the shovel. Like, you pick the pick or you pick the shovel. Yeah, and it goes on for a bit.
So good. It does.
I love it.
It's great though.
It's so funny.
This is definitely the one where it's like this goes on a little long, but I'm a fan of the whole thing.
I love how at the end, Abbott is like, all right, well, like however it ends, he's like, get going, and Costello's like, well, I don't even know what's going on. How can I get going? Or whatever he says. It just cracks me up.
I just need a blooper reel of like how many times it took them to get.
Oh my god!
Because there's points where they're talking really fast. It's like a tongue twister. It's like I'm reading Fox and Socks from Dr. Seuss. I'm like, what the fuck? It hurts my mouth.
Between pick and shovel, he says it so many times, right? And I'm like, hello? I don't even know what you're saying anymore.
Oh man! So the ancient Egyptians, man, they love their like just secret doorways. Because then there's another one in the other spot that they're at, and they just fall into it.
It's a long fall too.
Yeah. And Abbott falls into it too. And then Ranchu, or Bad Bitch, she takes Simu hostage because she was gonna kill him, but he's like, "You kill me. There's too many of my followers. You ain't gonna beat them all." She's like, "Well, I'll just take you hostage instead." He's like, "All right."
He's like, "I'm popular on YouTube."
Yep.
Then we get another dance, which I
made a cult. I mean, it's kind of the same nowadays, but you know,
there's a cult there.
So we get another dance. I think it's just the same exact dance. I feel like they use the same exact footage.
They might have.
padding.
But the only thing you're missing is the guy standing in the back. But after the dance is over, one of his guys just comes out. He's like, "Hey, Simu's gone. We got to go find him." And they're like, "Maybe you should have told us about that earlier before we did this whole dance thing."
Yeah,
I feel like we were doing this whole thing for him. All right.
And that's when they all get up and go search, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I just think that this. I just have this thought in my mind, like this whole thing. Like they're trying to perfect this dance for Simu, and he's really, really particular about it. Like he's really critical of it. And I just thought of Santa Claus from Rudolph. And he's like, "How was the dance, Simu?" Like, it needs work. And he gets up and storms off. And like he has a wife. And I was like, "Oh, it was a great dance. You keep it just the way it was."
Fuck Santa from Rudolph, man.
He's an asshole.
Dude sucks. Oh, man. So there's a whole plan where Bad Bitch is going to have one of her thugs take Clarice's place. I love this whole plan. They just had a couple mummy costumes hidden in their bags. And they're just like, "We're going to dress you up like this mummy. We're going to take out this mummy, by the way. And you're going to go in there with him in his place. And we're just going to bury him out here." All right. And so we then get Lou and Abbott. They're burying their guy because they find the same sarcophagus and they knock out the thug who took the place of Clarice. So Lou's out there burying the one guy, and then the mummy pops up and he's just like, and he knocks him with the shovel. He tries to bury him, and then the other guy pops up and you get the whole thing. But then he finds Simu on the other side, and then they don't know like who he really is. So they're like, "Oh, we needed you. We need your help." So they untie him and bring him into the tomb. And then I love when they both, the mummy and the thug, wake up. It's like, and the mummy just screams and the dude just runs off screen.
Yeah.
But Lou and Abbott, they literally had a whole plan of how Abbott's going to dress up as the mummy to do the same exact thing. He's going to go take his place. I'm like, oh, I bet you there's going to be a gag here, guys.
Yep.
And there is, as we get a mummy threesome, as they would say in 1955, where you have the real mummy, you have Abbott as a mummy, and then you have the thug as a mummy, and you get this whole hijinks in the tomb. It's pretty funny.
It's a Spider-Man meme.
Yeah,
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Dude, when Bad Bitch goes, "Hey, we're gonna take the detector," and I went, "There were metal detectors in this at this time?" I guess so. Yeah. This thing was fucking huge.
Yeah, it was.
The only thing that was weird is it wasn't making any noise. I mean, she was wearing like the headset, so
we'll add it in post.
Yeah.
Nobody added.
Yeah, they never added it in post.
Oh my god. So then we get like the I call it the bonk your mummy game, which is like all of them are getting hit with things.
Yeah.
They all back up into each other and turn around and like, ah! Oh, so they find the professor and they fall into, or he escapes into the tomb, and then his followers find him. And then at one point he literally goes, this was another line reading that really made me laugh because it's just so bad. He's like, "We might be too late. They could have already gotten to the treasure." I'm like, even if they found the treasure, wouldn't it take some time to get the treasure out of there? Like, I feel like you guys would be able to meet them at the treasure and be like, "Hey, stop that. We have a lot of people that could defeat you. So you're done."
It took Benny a while. So, I mean, it should take them a minute at least.
Yeah, but he was like, it's probably going to be too late. They took they probably have the treasure by now. I'm like, they have some sort of power I don't know about, because that'd be really quick. But also, sir, please can we get some emotion behind your line readings? Because they're just so stiff.
So bland.
He is legit.
Definitely
Yeah, he is one of the
cue card and reading it.
He's one of the robots from like the Hall of Presidents. They just took him out and was like, in 1865, I was trying to enjoy a play and I got shot in the head. Do you know who I am?
Just think of the episode where they do that in Simpsons, where they find the Hall of Presidents and he pulls down George Washington's like robot pants and he like freaks out. Which then made me think of the time where they recreated the assassination of John Wilkes Booth on The Simpsons at school, and Milhouse is Abraham Lincoln, and fucking Bart just kicks in the door, does the whole hasta la vista AB, like, oh no, John Wilkes Booth, and it's like, do, and like Homer's yelling, get him, boy. It's just fucking great.
Classic.
That's how you got to teach the kids how that went down.
Hell yeah.
John Wilkes Booth was actually Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Dude, I'd watch it. Like, if somebody remade the assassination of John Wilkes Booth, but it was Arnold Schwarzenegger, or
the assassination
similar.
of Abraham Lincoln.
Sorry, Abraham Lincoln of John Wilkes Booth. I'm getting mad. I'm
by
talking
John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean. I put the brain in the robot. You get it.
Down. Get down again.
Get down. Get down.
You just see Abe and Mary Todd. They're just sitting in their booth, and all they hear is dun, 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 dun. And they're like, what the fuck is that? It's like, why is this theme song following them around?
I don't remember this being part of the play.
Imagine though if that was like how the Terminator worked, like his theme song just followed him, so like people could actually hear it happening before they even see him. There's like just slightly in the distance, it's just like dun, 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 dun.
That would be.
I mean,
very
he
awful.
is from. He is from the future. He should have a Bluetooth.
Right, it's like in his shoulder,
He's
like
Bluetooth
speakers.
Audio output.
Yes.
Well, he'd have more than one because he's from the future. He'd have at least what 10.1.
Yes,
He's like
he'd
he
be,
opens his mouth
outputting
and the speakers just in there. Yeah.
he has two in his butt cheeks.
Yes, yes.
He has to have surround sound.
Oh
I had to
god.
stick it somewhere. The rest of it was just armor plating and munitions.
So bad bitch, she's gonna blow up the tomb. She's like, I guess if I can't get the treasure, I should just blow up this tomb. And I went, I don't
Fuck 'em all,
understand
no
this
mercy.
plan at all, but go, you do you, girl.
You do you, boo.
And we then get hopscotch, or not hopscotch, but like a hot potato with the dynamite.
Yep.
With the longest wick possible.
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah. Oh, but I mean, even by the time it blows up, that wick is still halfway.
Oh yeah, it's not
Still
even
has like
close.
half of it to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you're doing, and then the mummy's like, and then there's.
Clarice is like, I win.
I love how Seamus is like, no, Clarice, you're gonna blow up the tomb and yourself. And I went, better. You're improving.
Nice.
Yeah, you're getting there. And yeah, the tomb blows up, the mummy blows up, and the whole thing is like, well, no one's gonna believe us. No one's gonna believe us about Clarice. And they're like, and Abbott's like, I got an idea. People were gonna remember Clarice forever. And then we get Cafe Clarice. I'm like, this is Jonathan from The Mummy, man. He opens up Imhotep's in the third Mummy movie. It's the same fucking thing.
If this movie was made 30 years later, he would not have 30 or 40 years later. It would have been 40 years later. They would not have gave him a cafe. They would have made him a TV show, and it would have been called Clarice Explains It All.
Oh god. And this is when
Teenager in a room.
I love the suit up from Costello, where he's like coming in with his explorer outfit, and then he's
big brain.
He's like, it's an opening of a new cafe. What are you doing? And he just throws on this like zip up
Everybody's
suit.
dressed but you. And I'm like, that's an awesome idea.
Oh. And then we get the gag where Costello gives Abbott the flute and he plays it, and you're like, boy, did the budget go way down? Because those are hands. But then it turns out to be a beautiful lady, and then they just start making out. And Lou's like,
do that.
Well, I'm gonna try this, and he does it again, and a snake comes out, and he
big
dives out a glass window.
Yeah,
because he tries to kiss
As
it.
one does.
Yeah, and that's it. That is Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. let's go around the room and talk about our final thoughts on this. Joey, after your recent viewing, you still love this movie?
Dude, fuck yeah. It was better. It gets better every time. And in fact, it got me down a Abbott and Costello rabbit hole because I have the whole TV show on DVD. And I started rewatching that again after this. And I was like, man, this is why I love classic comedy. So good. Matter of fact, I want to rewatch this movie again. And I just watched it again last night. So good. Go. So fucking good, man.
Awesome. Angela.
Stop looking at me like that. I have to say that every time you said bad bitch, all I could think of was, it's Brittany, bitch. It's Brittany, every bitch. Time you said it. And I'm like, damn it, I'm over here cackling. But I love it. I love Abbott and Costello. I mean, what's not to love about him? It was a good movie. I mean, I would watch it again in a heartbeat.
Oh, that was good. Just good times. I like it. It's fun. I enjoyed it. It was a good. I'm glad I picked it. I kept thinking when I watched this, I'd never seen it before. Like, I literally thought like I'd never seen this specific movie, but I actually have. Like, the more I had like thought about it, like I remember these scenes from when I was a kid, like, or not a kid, but like much younger. And so I must have watched it with Grandma. She must have had it on too, because she always
we've watched all kinds of stuff with her.
Yeah, I know. Or I caught it on Parker TCM used to do the Monster Month. Like, I know that everybody likes the horror one they did after it. That's great, 80s, 90s horror, but I always loved the ones where it was just 50s and 60s movies, monster movies, sci-fi movies. Good times. But anyway, it's fun. I love it. Like, if you don't mind this like older style humor, like, just don't be all like uptight, because it's campy a bit and all that fun stuff. But it's fun. It's good, clean humor, but it's still enjoyable, and the characters are super likable. And I'm telling you, Abbott should not have got the ass at the end of the movie, dude. Give it to Lou, man. He's the dude. Nothing against Abbott.
He goes through it all in this thing, man. He eats the medallion. He gets he pretty much is like, he's got a stiffy, man, as he thinks he's gonna get something out of bed. Nothing happens. And then fucking Abbott, who does literally nothing this entire movie, is just like, I'm gonna get the hot chick out of the fucking
It's because he dressed up as the mummy.
That's right.
Dumb.
I mean, growing up, you talked about TV Land. I grew up watching TV Land. I grew up watching I Love Lucy. So, like, this is the type of humor that gets me every time. Like, watching Green Acres, stuff like that. Like, I love that type of humor. So this just...
Yeah, this is... This was fun. Yeah, this was a fun movie. I was just, poking fun at like the extended like comedy bits, but like that's the thing is like with like Abbott and Costello, Three Stooges, like that's what these shows were made on, like those extended bits, because they kept going, but they were so funny every time.
Yep.
Where like I feel there is like when we talked about Ghostbusters 2016, my biggest complaint about that movie was the fact that
you have to bring that back.
Yeah, I'm only bringing it up not because of. I mean, there's a lot of complaints about that movie, and we always stated, even in the episode, is like we didn't like it because of all these other reasonings, but it wasn't the fact that it was a all women's Ghostbusters. My biggest complaint about Ghostbusters 2016 was that there was comedy bits that just went on way too long, and it got to the point where there's like, we got the punchline. Why are we still going? We're like, Abbott and Costello, they were able to like bounce off each other so well. And even though they're doing the same thing over and over again, there's just slight changes every time that just keep the comedy going or the humor going and keeping you kind of engaged and laughing at it. Where there were some jokes like Kristen Wiig, man, she's funny. I think she's hilarious. Bridesmaids, fucking great. But there are bits of Ghostbusters 2016 where she is just going for, it felt like 10 minutes. And you're just like, just stop, just move on. Like, we don't need more. Like I laughed already, but that was 10 minutes ago. And you're still going. Oh, but that's enough of that. But yeah, I always have fun with these movies. It's so hard to be like super critical with with these type of comedies because of just like the time that they came out in, what they were able to do back then. Some good, some bad, you know. Abbott and Costello, man, they're just legends, and it sucks that Costello died so young. He was only 52 when he died. Like, I feel like we could have gotten Abbott and Costello through the 60s, which would have just been great. Getting Abbott and Costello in color, that would have been great. But yeah, this was a good time, and I'm looking forward to covering more. I'd love to do the Frankenstein one or the Invisible Man one. Did they do Dracula? Did they do Meet Dracula?
Yeah, it's in Frankenstein.
Okay,
yeah,
it's been a long time since I've seen that.
Yeah, because Frankenstein has the Wolfman, Frankenstein, and Dracula in it.
Oh, and the Invisible Man cameo at the end.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but he gets his own movie.
Yep,
he does.
Yeah. Another fact about this, and we mentioned it before, but the names in the credits for Abbott and Costello, Abbott played Pete Patterson, and Costello played Freddie Franklin, even though their names are never used in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know what the fucking point of that is.
They were that was their names in the script and in the final credits, but those two were just like, not doing.
We ain't doing that shit.
Comic book ass names.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, that's it. So now we're gonna go over to social media and see what you all had to say about Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, and we're gonna start on Twitter/X. Our first one is from our good friend Darren Lundberg, who is a co-host over at NostalgiaCast and Back to Bluey. He was on our The Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor episode a couple weeks ago. He said, "Oh, how I love that you're including this one." And I really wanted to be like, sorry, you had to be part of one of the bad ones. This is when Dan started being belligerent, so I had to put him in his place. Stu World Order at SWO Productions said, I have seen their meetings with Frankenstein and the Invisible Man, but not the Mummy. Watch the Mummy one.
Yep, I agree.
It's a good time. And at Reels Feels Pod, love this one. Such a classic and clever comedy. I think we got a couple over on Instagram. Let me pop that open real quick. We got one from Big Optimus 33, patron of the show, Daniel Collins. Said, I've never seen this movie. I watched Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, I believe it's called, but not this one. Looks like a lot of fun. Yes, it is. 100%. Just check it out. We always recommend, to be honest, even the bad movies that we cover on the show, we always recommend people, if you haven't watched a certain movie, give it a shot. You know, you might have a different opinion on it. Like, we were not nice to The Mummy 2017 because in our opinion, it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
From beginning to end. But if you are like, I am the type of person who always has that morbid curiosity over really shitty movies that people are just like, this movie is atrocious. Don't watch it. It's bad. I'm like, I'm going to watch it because I really want to know how bad. Either it's going to be bad or it's going to be one of those movies that I secretly enjoy. So yeah, seriously, check out like any movie we cover on the show. Check it out. And I think that's it. I don't think we got anything over on Threads, but you'd be surprised.
I don't even think I've opened that app in weeks.
I've been trying to use it more because Twitter is a cesspool of garbage.
Yep.
Yep. So I've been trying to use Threads more because it's kind of the same thing as Twitter, but it's connected with Instagram and all that shit. But
I like my cesspool.
I'm just bad at social media, so it doesn't matter which one I use. I suck at it. But whatever. Yes. So next week is a new month and a new theme, and
kind of. It's still got to do with dead shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be our ghost month. Listen, we're covering Friday the 13th Part 1. It's sort of a ghost movie if you think about it.
There's an asterisk on the end of it, but
yeah. It's one of those ones where you don't know who it is, so it could be a ghost.
I could get behind that.
Killer. Yeah. But next week we are going to be diving into, the next 2 weeks we're going to be diving into classics. Movies that I have been super excited to cover on the show, and it's been a long time coming. But we are going to be covering 1984's Ghostbusters next week, and then the week after, we're going to be covering Ghostbusters 2, which, ironically, I did it on purpose. But Ghostbusters, of course, is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year, and Ghostbusters 2 is celebrating its 35th anniversary. So it's like double whammy. But yeah, next month is our Ghost month. We're going to be covering those two. We're going to be covering Friday the 13th, the original Friday the 13th from 1980, since there is a Friday the 13th in September. And then the end of the month will be our Patreon pick, which our selections are going to be The Frighteners, the Peter Jackson movie with Michael J. Fox, 13 Ghosts from 1999, I think the year was that came out, and Dead Silence from 2006, I think. So yeah, those will be the selections over on patreon.com/dissect that film. As I've stated many times on the show, free members have the opportunity to vote on those polls. So you don't have to pay any money to be part of our Patreon. If you want to participate in the polls, you can do that. We appreciate that. But if you want to join financially, we have a $1 tier, which gives you all those perks. Plus you get early access to episodes, blooper reels, all that fun stuff. And then now a new priced tier. We dropped our $5 tier down to $3 for the foreseeable future. Our $3 tier, of course, is our highest tier now, which includes our Patreon exclusive show called The Monster Zone, which is hosted by Dan and Angelo of DNA Gaming, where we talk about monster movies once a month, and it's fun. And we have some special content coming for you in November to celebrate Godzilla's 70th birthday. I'm not going to talk any more about it. I think I've mentioned it before, but you guys will figure it out. So yeah, join us over on Patreon, patreon.com/dissect that film for all of those goodies. Make sure to go over and vote. Join at the free tier, vote on those polls so you guys can choose what movie we cover at the end of the month. All right. I usually wait until the end of the show, but I figured I was talking about the Patreon poll. So now it's time for Joey to let us all know where we can find him and all of his amazing content. Go for it, Joey.
I don't know about amazing, but you can go to youtube.com/OfficialJoeyC for all your exclusive Joey C needs. Now, just a warning, folks, you're going to see some questionable things on that YouTube channel, but give it a shot, man. Give it a shot.
Listen, if you listen to this show, you're already listening to questionable things. So Joey's channel is perfect. It's a good combo.
That's a good point.
For listeners, people who already listen to this show. So
very manly.
All the links to Joey's YouTube channel, his Patreon, and of course he's a co-host over at Hack the Movies. So he's done a lot of episodes. He's on all the live shows. So make sure to go sub to Hack the Movies as well to see more of Joey C. Sometimes I show up on the live shows when I have time to. For about 3 seconds, but I'm there. It's a good time. It's a good time. Seriously. So all those links will be down in the description. As for us, for anything else other than Patreon, you can follow us on all the social media apps at Dissect That Film. Follow us on all of the podcast listening apps at Dissect That Film. Make sure to leave us 5 stars wherever you listen to us. It helps us out. It gets us into more ears. And yeah, it just makes me feel good when we get new 5-star ratings or reviews or all that fun stuff. And if you want to watch the video version of our episodes where you can see our lovely faces, and I've been adding clips and all that fun stuff, I've been putting way more work into the YouTube, even though I have no time to do it, but I make time, baby, for all of you over on YouTube, youtube.com/dissect that film, where you can see us waving and doing questionable things as well. Well, this video is getting no views.
Whoa.
We just hit 700 subscribers, at least as of this video. We are at over 700 subscribers. So thank you very much. We are getting closer to that 1K goal. We don't have much time left before the end of the year, but I feel something in the air. We can get it done.
If we hit 1K before the end of the year, Parker's going to put something questionable in his mouth.
I didn't agree to this. We'll have to talk about that.
I'm building hype. Come on, dude.
Okay, yes. We'll work out something that is YouTube friendly. I think I have to be the one to do all the bad things.
I can't. I just don't got the throat for it anymore. I lost the callus. It just doesn't work.
So yeah, make sure to go like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Like the video, comment on the video. We appreciate all your support over there. And as for our wonderful patrons, I want to thank Billy Joseph Jr., Corey Morissette, Andrew Schoening, Jason, Dustin from the Flicks and Friend podcast, Daniel Collins, Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming, Doom Generation, Eric Stein, Robert Stewart, Rudy5453, the Barons Hideout podcast, Paul Jansen, Dennis, Charles, Bucket of Chum podcast, OfficialJoeyC, and Movie Fanatic. Thank you all for supporting us on Patreon at all the different tiers. We appreciate you and your support. Keep voting on those polls. Keep, we got cool things going on Patreon. We got cool, like, community chats that they have now where you can, like, just cool chats going on. I'm going to try to work on a Discord so we can have, people just hang out in there, talk about shit, request shit, all that stuff. It's a lot of extra work, but you know what? I'm willing to do it for all of you amazing people out there who support our show. Even if you're not part of the Patreon, we appreciate you very much because without you, this is nothing. We're just talking into microphones. So thank you so much for all the support. And until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. And that is the official Joey C. And this has been another episode of Dissect That Film. We'll see y'all again next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
But a pick is a pick. Did you pick the shovel?
You picked the shovel. Shovel's picked.
Ah.
Dr. Zoomer. Dr. Zoomer.
Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas.
That's what I said.